Why your new habits always fail. How many of you started this new year with a bunch of resolutions and new habits that you wanted to adopt? Now, how many of you have already failed? If you're someone that has struggled creating new habits, this video is for you. Let's start with some fun facts around New Year's resolutions, which is hands down the most popular time of year which everyone attempts to make some positive changes. About 45 to 50% of Americans create New Year's resolutions, compared with only 20 to 25% of Brits. I'm sure if you're not someone that creates resolutions year on year, the chances are you know someone that does. Despite the large number of people who go into a new year with good intentions, reports suggest that less than 10% of those people actually stick with their resolutions. What's worse is that around 25% of those people give up on their resolutions by the second week of January. The second week. A 2014 report showed that 35% of participants who failed at their New Year's resolutions admitted they had unrealistic goals. A further 33% did not even keep track of their progress, 23% forgot about them entirely, and 1 in 10 of the remainder claimed they made too many resolutions. Personally, whilst I do have annual goals, I've never understood the need to wait until a new year to get started on something you want to do. I mean, if you want to be less of a fool, I'd prefer if you just started implementing that as of today. If you do enough digging, you'll find there's a lot of mixed stats as to how long it actually takes to adopt a new habit. Some go with 30 days, some say 90 days, and then a few studies suggest the magic number is around 66 days. The truth is, it really depends on the type of person and the type of habit that you're trying to adopt. Therefore, there really is no one-size-fits-all number that I could give you to tell you how long it's going to take you. So knowing where people go wrong and how they fail is one thing, but what can you do to make your habit stick? In this video, I want to focus on the idea of working in flow. It's one of the safest ways to build a new habit in my opinion, and it's where most people go wrong right from the very start. If you get this bit right, you give yourself a much better chance at making habits stick in the long term. Before we delve into the idea of working in flow, I'm going to explain a couple of core concepts. Standardize before you optimize, and consistency over intensity. Standardize before you optimize. This simply means making something a normal part of your routine before you try to optimize it. Where most people go wrong with their routines is they try and shoot for the optimized version of the habit right at the very beginning. What you should be doing at the start is working to make this a normal part of your day by starting small and then working your way upwards. Here's a few examples of optimized routines versus standardized ones. I'm going to exercise 5 times per week for 1 hour a day versus I'm going to exercise every day for 10 minutes. I'm going to cut out all junk going forward versus I'm going to have a healthy dinner every single day. I'm going to stop procrastinating and be more productive versus I'm going to get 1 key task done a day. I'm going to read 1 book a week versus I'm going to read 1 page a day. The list goes on. The point is here, at the start, it's not about making drastic, big steps. It's about learning that small steps in the right direction is a much better foundation to build from. At the start, it's not about achieving the goal. It's about becoming the type of person that achieves the goal. Our second core concept is this idea of consistency over intensity. One of the most effective ways to build a new habit in someone's life is to focus on being consistent rather than giving something 110% every time they show up. Most people fall into a trap of believing if they don't give something everything that there's no point in showing up at all. This thinking is fundamentally flawed. This is not black or white or all or nothing. There is a middle ground, and the middle ground will keep you in the game long enough so that you have long-term success. The key to mastery in any area is through consistency, not intensity. Working in flow. This is a graph of what working in flow actually represents. At the bottom, you can see your level of skill, And the more highly skilled you are for a certain activity, the more likely you'll experience boredom. On the left, you can see the challenge level of the activity. The more challenging something is, the more likely you are to experience anxiety. So operating in flow actually means finding the perfect state between boredom and anxiety. As your skill level increases, your challenge level for that task should subsequently increase too. This allows you to work long into the future to make success eventually happen for you. Let me now overlay and show you the path which most people take. This is what most people do. They start with an intense, optimized version of their routine, and they maintain this maybe for a few days, weeks, or months, riding motivation which they rely on, and everyone tends to have early on. They then fall off a cliff and default back to their normal old habits. A safer approach is to follow the notions of standardize before you optimize and consistency over intensity, and develop a path that looks either like this or like this. In the simplest form, the start of a new habit is where most people go wrong. They don't build their foundations the right way and never even give themselves a fighting chance to stick it out in the long run. You don't need motivation. You need to work on being consistent through momentum. Motivation is a feeling. Feelings come and go. Momentum is action. Objects in motion stay in motion. Think about this the next time you start a routine.